Imagine a world where everybody is connected. Imagine a world where somebody in Japan can do a transaction with somebody in the United States without high banking fees. Imagine a world no longer ruled by greedy corporate banks. There's going to become a time when we think of central banks in the same way we think about calling an operator to talk to a friend on the phone. This weird, annoying entity that came between us and the things we actually wanted. You aren't going to drown in fees anymore. You aren't going to borrow money from a bank. You aren't going to fight a half a dozen middlemen. It'll just be you and your money anywhere on earth. And once this happens, cryptocurrency could very well make the US dollar obsolete. Once people understand how easy this is and get used to it, the demand for legacy money controlled by a government and bank is going to plummet like a rock. Welcome to the world of cryptocurrency. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. This is a brand new weekend, the last full weekend of June, which means we are coming to a close halfway through 2022. The last 6 months have gone by very, very quickly. So good morning. Go ahead and type in the chat box where you're listening in from. My name is Brandon Ivy, Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. I also want to do a quick mic check. So if I am coming through clear, let me know. If I sound muffled, let me know so I can switch mics. Sometimes technology acts funny. As a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction
you want to move into. So let's see, who do we have on the line? And remember, I'm streaming, so if you didn't click on allowing StreamYard to see your name, you're going to show up to me as a Facebook user. All right, so you're showing up to me as a Facebook user. So I see Van Hairston from New Jersey, Facebook user from very hot Jersey. Brenda Fogel, South Orange, New Jersey. Whoa, we got three New Jersey in a row. Welcome. Dagmar from Lake Arrowhead. Faye from Temecula. Gina from Philadelphia. Facebook user from Frisco, Texas. Fallon, good morning. Dorothy Mays, Tampa, Florida. Paulette Rice, Parachute, Colorado. Neil Brooks, Richmond, Virginia. Facebook user, happy Saturday, fam. Terry Johnson Paul from Fort Worth, Texas. Let's see, Christine Shield from Illinois. Facebook user, oh, that's Marnita from Colorado. Janelle, Colorado. Pat, happy weekend from Texas. Lori Lamar from Southern Illinois. Marion from Pennsylvania. Facebook user, rainy day in Chicago. Patty, okay. Okay, I know I'm get your last name spelled was right. Geis. I'm assuming it was Geis, right? Correct me if I'm wrong again, Patty from San Diego. Kevin from Texas. This just jumped on me. Where was I there? Patty, there we go. Let's see, Dorothy Mays, Terry Johnson Paul, Neil Brooks, Darlene from Durham, North Carolina, James Flint from Nebraska, Elizabeth Peterson, Durham, North Carolina, Dave Tayo from Toronto, Canada, Anita Suri from Toronto, Canada. That's Marty Saul from Frisco, Texas. Deborah Van Birch from Pennsylvania. Noel from Cape Town, South Africa. All right. Good morning, everybody. Well, this is our weekly crypto talk that we do open to the public on Saturdays. Normally, all my other crypto talks are for the inner circle. If you are not in the inner circle, you are really, really missing out. Really missing out. We just finished our 5-day challenge for the month of June last night. So thank you for all of you who have participated. We made some big announcements last night. I'm gonna show off a couple of things today. If I still have those links up, I'm gonna show off a couple of things today, and I'm doing a special live tonight where we're going to be talking about the river of money. People don't know what this is. You think you know what this is, but you don't. So we're going to talk about this tonight. So, Marnita, do me a favor. Have ready to go the apparel site and the Bitcoin 101 site. Just ready to go. All right, don't put it up there yet. Just have it ready to go. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a little bit about the charts, see what's happening in crypto, and then we're going to read the U.S. digital dollars proposed white paper. Very, 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 very exciting time to be alive, and it's also scary at the same time. So I'm gonna be covering that. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I knew it was coming. So I see here, Facebook user, I concur, not being part of the inner circle. Yeah, but I don't know who that is. Sue Williams from Utah, good morning. Justice LeBron, good morning. Provis Lofties, Corpus Christi, good morning. All right, so let's jump into. Let me make sure I can refresh the crypto market. And I have to remember, since you guys probably haven't seen me since last Saturday, so we've got to look at the chart based on week to week instead of day to day. And I strongly suggest if you really want to be plugged in and getting this information, then you definitely want to be a part of the inner circle. You want to be a part of the inner circle. So I've got multiple screens going on, so I'm experimenting today. So I want to make sure that everything comes through fine and you guys can see me. Yes. Oh, cool. I didn't know it can do that. So I'm sharing screen. You see my screen here, but I can still see myself over there. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get into this. The market cap is at 987 billion, down almost 1% in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin is at 21,100. It keeps testing this. If this cannot pop 22 and remain, this is going to go back down to 17,000, if not below that, which I hope it does. Yesterday, I did a special live where I talked about the last chance to own one whole Bitcoin is right now. If you believe or have an idea that you think crypto might be here to stay, it's not going anywhere, and it's not, you want to own at least one whole Bitcoin and forget about it. Put it on a cold storage wallet and stash it away. Don't even think about spending it for the next 5 years, because this is the lowest price or this range that you're ever going to see it again. When the next bull market hits and then it crashes, well, the media will say it crashes, but it's actually going to be a correction. That next crash, we're going to look at Bitcoin price being in around the 40, 50,000, maybe $60,000 range as the new low. The average American family of four earns about $40,000 a year. So it's going to be out of range, out of touch for most people. So right now at this price is the most affordable, the last chance you can get in on this while it's cheap. Now, Bitcoin is at 21,100. The last 7 days, it's gone up 3.3% from a week ago. Ethereum has jumped 9.9% from a week ago. BNB is up 8.4. Ripple is up 12.2. Solana is up 30.5%. 34.5%. Solana, I'm glad I put that 1,000 on that when I did. Polkadot is up 8.5. Doge is up 16.3. Shiba Inu 38.1. Tron 7.4. Avalanche 26.7. Huh. Leo, this has been a good week. Matic is up 44.4% on the week. Let's look at the best performing coins over the past 7 days. Celsius Network, 69.1%. We read in the inner circle earlier this week that the whales, the Ethereum whales, has stockpiled on Celsius. Synthetics Network, 63.5. Titan Swap, 59.5. Tencent, 46.2. Matic, 44.4. Look at this deep double-digit green for the past week on the altcoins. That's very strong. Let's see. What about who had a bad week? The worst performers. Bitcoin Cash is down 6.9. DeFi Chain 4.7. KuCoin 3.7. And that's about it. Cardano really didn't perform. Helium didn't perform. But it's been a very good week in the altcoin market for crypto. All right, now let's jump right into the white paper because I don't know how long this is going to be. And I promised when I heard about this, what was it, 2 days ago, that I would not read it until we do this live. And that has been a struggle. I've been itching to read this for the last couple of days. Now, let me explain my excitement and my reservation about this. When I first started to learn about crypto, one of the things I wanted to know was how was this going to impact the US dollar, or how would the United States government and the banking industry and governments around the world respond to crypto once they realize what Bill Gates said in 2014. See, billionaires will say one thing one day and say something a different time. The earlier Bill Gates said Bitcoin can't be stopped, but if you listen to him today, he's very critical of it. But while he's critical of it, he's building an infrastructure and foundation behind the scenes, but not telling the public about it. But he stated that Bitcoin can't be stopped. And I was curious, if the governments realize this and Bitcoin is not controlled by a bank, a government, a business, or a CEO, they're not going to like it. What are they going to do in response? And in those early days, I realized they're going to implement the Reagan doctrine. You know, if there's something that's popular out there and you don't control it, the first thing you're going to do is you want to criminalize it. Then you want to ban it. Then you want to regulate it. And then when all else fails, you want to co-opt it. So at that time, Bitcoin was going through the first three. It was being criminalized. Some places it was being banned. It was being regulated, and it still is. We still don't have full regulation on it yet. But then the fourth, co-opted. What would that look like? How would the United States or the rest of the world respond? And then I started reading and realized that Russia in 2017, January 2017, Vladimir Putin made a decree in Russia that he told his central banks that he wants to have a digital coin in the Russian ruble within the next 2 to 3 years. Then I was reading about what's going on in China, that China has a love-hate relationship when it comes to crypto. They love the idea of it because the United States doesn't control it. And the United States has world power domination since World War II, based on our military and our ability to have sanctions, because the world's reserve is backed by the US dollar. It's the US dollar. So when a nation doesn't do what we want to do, we don't need to send in the troops. We just put sanctions on you. So this is a way that these other countries that want to have grand designs of being a superpower again can avoid United States sanctions and weaken the US by not using our currency, by being able to create their own. But at the same time, wait a minute, did I lose you guys? Because Marnita's calling me. Am I still good? Guys, type in the chat box if you can hear me. Got to make sure I'm still good. Why? Yes or no? If you can still hear me. If everybody reaches out. No. Marion just said no. Fallon said we're here. Oh, but can you hear me? All right. And normally Marnita will call me if something happened. Okay. On my train of thought. Let me go back. China. The only way China, they have to figure out, how can we accept this cryptocurrency so that we can have freedom from the United States, but at the same time block our people from using it, because then they can use it to have freedom from us. We're a communist nation. So we want to have the best of both worlds. So the answer was, we're not going to accept Bitcoin, but we will create our own digital token. So China made a decree that stated that every single government employee must learn blockchain technology, and that they're going to be implementing a cashless society using the digital yuan. And that's already started to come into place way before the United States. Now, this is my fear with the United States. If they follow suit exactly like what China did, the reason why it worked for China is, and why Americans may fight this, is freedom, privacy. As long as we have physical cash, the government can't seize this if they don't know where it is. If I take all my cash and bury it somewhere, the government can't take it. You know, the older generations, they don't believe in the banks. They kept their cash in their home, under their mattress, or they buried it somewhere. But if you move to a cashless society that's only digital, now the government or the bank is a custodial of your money. And if they're a custodial of your money, that means that you need to ask them permission for you to pull it out. Even right now, if you have money in a bank, you still need permission to pull your money out. As rappers have found out, they go into the bank, they want to pull out $100,000 cash, and the bank only gives them 30K. I want the rest of my money. Well, you got to go through procedures. Or, are you sure? Well, da da da. It's my money. So the communist nation of China says, yeah, let's use a digital yuan. We can freeze anybody's account at any given time. We could print more money without having to print this just by typing on a keyboard. That's my fear about the US. Well, let me read this white paper and let's see where this leads. So I'm reading it for the first time with all of you. Money and payments, and I did learn that the Federal Reserve has been looking and creating the Fed coin at least since 2012. At least. That's as far as back as I can go for a paper trail that was kind of out in the open because of crypto, the digital dollar. Now, what it was going to be called is still up for dispute. It could be called the Fed coin, the digital dollar, Trump coin, who knows what yet. But this has been in the works. This is not brand new. We're just now, the majority is just now hearing about this. So money and payments, the US dollar in the age of digital transformation. The US dollar in the digital age, in the age of digital transformation. Okay. Let's see. Federal Reserve System. You know the Federal Reserve is not a government agency, right? It's private. And you know what the Federal Reserve, since they got their eye on crypto, what they said? 12% of the American population is holding and actively involved in crypto. 46% of them are making more than $100,000 a year or more. I like those odds because they also say 97% of Americans will retire broke, depending on family, government, and friends by the age of 65. So which do you want? You want to go the 9-to-5 route where 97% of you retire broke? You think you might want to learn about crypto where 46% is earning more than $100,000 a year. So if you don't know what the Federal Reserve is, the Federal Reserve System is a central bank. You know what? This is going to lead right into my river of money tonight. So pay real close attention to this. It is the Reserve System is a central bank of the United States. It performs 5 key functions to promote the effective operation of the U.S. economy and, more generally, the public interest. Conducts the nation's monetary policy to promote maximum employment and stable prices in the U.S. economy. Yeah, are they doing a good job of that? They doing anything about that? What about promotes the stability of the financial system and seeks to minimize and contain systemic risks through active monitoring and engagement in the U.S. and abroad? The only good thing I say that they have been able to do is the United States is broke. We are in debt so deep that it is almost impossible to climb out of. We just keep kicking that can down the road. And as long as the US dollar is the reserve currency of the planet and other nations are buying US debt, United States is able to keep staying afloat doing what we do. But we're living in a debt-ridden society. The moment that the rest of the world wakes up and says, you know what, we don't need the United States dollar anymore, and they start continuing to stockpile gold, and they come up with their own currency outside the US dollar for international trade, we're in trouble. We're going to be deep trouble. So I would say they have done a good job or a good enough job of keeping the United States floating in a debt-ridden society for the last 4 decades or so. Promotes the safety and soundness of individual financial institutions. But every now and then, they can't keep the leak plugged. You have what happened in 2008. You have the greatest recession since the Great Depression. You have things that's not in their control, like COVID or war in Russia and Ukraine. Global lockdown, pandemic. manufactured or real. It's irrelevant. What's relevant is the response to it. And you ended up having economic stimulus checks going out. 40% of all money was printed in the last couple of years. And there's a consequence of that, which we're feeling today, which is called inflation. And then inflation inevitably leads us into a recession. High gas prices. No baby formula. Food prices are high. Promotes the safety and soundness of individual financial institutions. Really? Individual financial institutions? That's not us. Businesses too big to fail, using taxpayer money to bail them out. The Federal Reserve ain't looking out for you. All right? You got to know that. It's a business. Fosters payment and settlement system safety and efficiency through services to the banking industry and U.S. government that facilitates U.S. dollar transactions and payments, and promotes consumer protection and community development through consumer-focused supervision and examination, research and analysis of emerging consumer issues and trends. That's true because they just added crypto to their analysis. Community economic development activities and administration of consumer laws and regulations. Okay, so you know what the Fed Reserve is. All right, let's get into this. Executive summary. For a nation's economy to function effectively, its citizens must have confidence in its money and payment services. In other words, trust. We must have trust in the system. President Bush, famous speech in 2008, trying to prevent a run on the bank, said, everybody calm down, relax. We've got to have confidence and trust in the system. The government will take care of you. Because without trust, this is gone. The thing about Bitcoin, it doesn't need to be trusted. It's based on math. There will only be 21 million. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're pro-life or pro-choice. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter where you were born. It is based on math. So, the Federal Reserve, as the nation's central bank, works to maintain the public's confidence by fostering monetary stability, financial stability, and a safe and efficient payment system. This paper is the first step in a public discussion between the Federal Reserve and stakeholders. Who do you mean, stakeholders? See, there's current words, you got to, key phrases, you got to stick out for you. You might want to write that down and go, who is the stakeholders of the Federal Reserve? About central bank digital currencies. I said this years ago. Better get used to this term, CBDCs. It will be common. It will be in your vocabulary. Central bank digital currencies. For the purpose of this paper, a CBDC is defined as a digital liability of a central bank that is widely available to the general public. Let me read that one more time. For the purpose of this paper, I might have to do this 2 days in a row or something, because like I said, I haven't read this before. So every time I read something, I don't read to read, I read to understand. So I may pause in between and try to break some things down here. CBDC is defined as a digital liability of a central bank that is widely available to the general public. In this respect, that's a key word there, widely available, but we still have 31% of the human population that does not have access to a bank account. In this respect, it is analogous to a digital form of paper money. So again, whenever you start hearing digital dollars, that is not crypto. Crypto and digital is different. What they're talking about is taking this physical cash and moving from this to zeros and ones on a computer screen. We're already in a cashless society, mostly since people like to use debit and credit cards for everything. I don't carry cash on me unless I'm traveling to be able to pay for maybe parking. For whatever reason, anytime I go to different states and I'm renting a car, they got stupid toll roads. I'm in California, Los Angeles. Our tax money pays for the freeway. Well, I got to pay a toll fee for that. But anyways, I got to have that change ready. I like to pay for tipping and things like that. But other than that, I never use cash for anything. So we're already used to using debit and credit cards in a cashless society. So now they're making it really official, getting rid of paper money. And some of the arguments you're going to hear is, well, do you realize that 70% of all like dollars is laced with methamphetamine, or did I say that right? Drugs is laced with most of the dollar bills. So anytime you're handling physical money, please make sure you wash your hands afterwards. All right, it's dirtier than your toilet paper's cleaner than that. Wash your hands. But anyways, let me keep going. I go off on tangents here. So in this respect, it is analogous to a digital form of paper money. The paper has been designed to foster a broad and transparent public dialogue about CBDCs in general and about the potential benefits and risks of a U.S. CBDC. The paper is not intended to advance any specific policy outcome, nor is it intended to signal that the Federal Reserve will make any imminent decisions about the appropriateness of issuing its U.S. CBDC. That's false. They've already made the decision. All right. The decision has been made. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when this goes down. In the background, payment technologies offered by the Federal Reserve have evolved over time. Let me ask you guys this question. If you never heard of the term, if you have heard of the term of CBDC before me saying something right now, type me in the chat box. I'm going to do a quick little survey here. If you ever heard of the term CBDC, type me, because most people have not. I can go to most of my family. Have you heard of CBDC? What's that? They're going to think it's some type of weed oil or something. CBDC. It's going to be commonplace. One of the most popular phrases because it's dealing with money. Everybody's going to know it. So let's go to the background here. Neil says no. Doreen, yes. Background. Payment technologies offered by the Federal Reserve have evolved over time. In the Federal Reserve's early years, even this is I got to ask this as well, because I'll since we're still at the beginning. If you do not know the difference between digital currency and cryptocurrency, type me in the chat box. You don't know the difference between digital currency and cryptocurrency, type me in the chat box. So let's get into the background here. Payment technologies offered by the Federal Reserve have evolved over time. In the Federal Reserve's early years, it established a national check clearing system and used dedicated telegraph wires to transfer funds between banks. In the 1970s, the Federal Reserve developed an automated clearinghouse, ACH. You guys hear about ACH systems that offered an electronic alternative to paper checks. And in 2019, the Federal Reserve committed to building the FedNow service. I am not familiar. I've heard of FedNow, but I'm not too familiar with FedNow, which will provide, so it's not there yet, which will provide real-time, around-the-clock interbank payments every day of the year. So we've got like a service like Zelle right now, but Zelle is limited to how much you can send in any given 24-hour period. So I wonder if this FedNow system, doesn't the IRS have something like this? I keep hearing that FedNow. But for those of you who don't understand the difference, digital currency is just a digital representation of this. Cryptocurrency is a digital representation of Bitcoin. Okay, this is worth, well, yeah, it is worth something because it is a coin. I think this is silver, but Bitcoin is crypto. Digital is controlled by a bank, a government, or a business. Crypto is not controlled by anybody. It is open source. It cannot be manipulated. It is based on math. And that's what we covered. Anybody that was in our 5-day challenge this past week, we went over that. You should come out the 5-day challenge feeling like a superstar now. You got some new information. So recent technological advances have ushered in a new wave of new private sector financial products and services, including digital wallets, mobile payment apps, and new digital assets such as cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. These technological advances have also led central banks around the globe to explore the potential benefits and risks of issuing a CBDC. Okay. Federal Reserve policymakers and staff have studied CBDC closely for several years. See that? Several years. This ain't new. Federal Reserve policymakers. So they're telling you this. Guided by an understanding that any U.S. CBDC should, among other things, provide benefits to households, businesses, and the overall economy that exceed any costs and risks. I'm curious now. All they need to do is say the CBDC is just a digital form of this. I think that they're about to pull an okie doke on everybody. This is why we're going to have to read the fine print. This is their time to redefine what this is. This is why I'm doing the river of money tonight. You may look at this $100 bill and think, oh, that's just some money I can use to go buy something at the grocery store. But 100 years ago, when everybody had to turn in their gold, the receipt that you were given was this. This was the receipt saying that the government has your gold, and this represents the gold that they are custodial of for you. And then in 1971, this changed again. This was no longer a gold-backed note. This became toilet paper. It just became paper that the government says you can use to go buy stuff with, not backed by anything but trust. And that the government can print more of this whenever they want, and every time they do, the value of this goes down. Now, I think they're going to use this opportunity to redefine what this is again. That's why I'm all excited about this white paper, because I want to read the fine print. Because they can just easily say, oh, yeah, whatever you knew this as, we're just going to digitize it and call it a day and shut the white paper down. Why go through all this? So we got to read the fine print. So this is supposed to provide benefits to households, businesses, and the overall economy that exceed any costs and risks. What does that mean? That exceed any costs and risks. Yield such benefits more effectively than alternative methods. What alternative methods? Is the alternative method, are you talking about crypto? Complement rather than replace. Oh, this is interesting here. Current forms of money and methods for providing financial services. Okay, so it is not going to replace this. See what they're saying here? The first word is complement, that the digital is going to work side by side. So this answers my CMO, James Hendricks, asked a question the other night. It says, the government can't possibly move 100% digital, because we have huge slices of our population that will never use, like the Amish community. They don't use computers. They don't use debit or credit cards. They use cash, money. So this white paper is saying, and I think for now, that we're just going to implement the new digital dollar that will complement this, not replace it. Okay, that's interesting. So complement rather than replace current forms of money and methods for providing financial services. What I like to see, what this looks like to me, is that this is going to be the training wheels. The ultimate goal is that it will replace this. They still need to have a major crisis for the public to accept it, but they will. Protect consumer privacy, okay. Protect against criminal activity, and have broader support from key stakeholders. Again, that's another word there. If anybody, I'm reading this live with you guys. There are things I may not understand. So if you have a clear understanding, go ahead and type and let me know. Who are the stakeholders? And then who is the key stakeholder? Is that somebody that's more valuable? One stakeholder is more valuable than another? Who are the stakeholders? The Federal Reserve is committed to soliciting and reviewing. So Alawi says stakeholders equals secured creditors. Interesting. But then you've got key stakeholders. So banks are the stakeholders. The Federal Reserve is committed to soliciting and reviewing a wide range of views as it continues to study whether a U.S. CBDC would be appropriate. Irrespective of any ultimate conclusion, Federal Reserve staff will continue to play an active role in developing international standards for CBDCs. The U.S. indigenous peoples and investors in U.S. Treasuries, obligation holders of primary dealers, and private bankers. Thank you for that. All right, key topics. The paper begins with a discussion of existing forms of money, the current state of the U.S. payment system, and its relative strengths and challenges, and the various digital assets that have emerged in recent years, including stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies. The paper then turns to CBDC, focusing on its uses and functions, potential benefits and risks, and related policy considerations. The Federal Reserve's initial analysis suggests that a potential U.S. CBDC, if one were created, would best serve the needs of the United States by being privacy protected, intermediated. Whoa. Okay, I read that too fast. The Federal Reserve's initial analysis suggests that a potential U.S. CBDC, if one were to be created, which it will, would best serve the needs of the United States by being privacy protected, intermediated, widely transferable, and identity verified. Identity verified. That is the complete opposite of what crypto is all about. Outside of privacy protected, it is widely transferable, but identity verified? No, crypto's not. Intermediated? No, crypto's not. There is no third party there. As noted above, however, the paper is not intended to advance a specific policy outcome and takes no position on the ultimate desirability of U.S. CBDC. False. Yes, they do. Public outreach. The Federal Reserve will seek input from a wide range of stakeholders that might use a CBDC or be affected by its introduction. Again, so since we know the definition of stakeholders, they're only going to be talking about the banks or what they consider key right here, key stakeholders. This paper concludes with a request for public comments. So you guys will have the ability to comment on this publicly. I think I will. The first step in a broad consultation that will also include targeted outreach and public forums. Introduction. The Federal Reserve is exploring the implications of and options for issuing a CBDC. For the purpose of this paper, a CBDC is defined as a digital liability of the Federal Reserve that is widely available to the general public. While Americans have long held money predominantly in digital form, for example, in bank accounts recorded as computer entries on commercial bank ledgers, a CBDC would differ from using digital money available to the general public because a CBDC would be a liability of the Federal Reserve, not of a commercial bank. That's interesting. So banks, are you saying banks can come up with their own, or they will? They don't need your permission. They're already doing it. JP Morgan. Bank of America's got 70 patents on blockchain technology. So this CBDC would be of the Federal Reserve, not of a commercial bank. A CBDC could potentially offer a range of benefits. For example, it could provide households and businesses a convenient electronic form of central bank money with the safety and liquidity that would entail. Give entrepreneurs a platform on which to create new financial products and services. Support faster and cheaper payments, including cross-border payments. I wonder if they'll be using the Ripple's blockchain for this or create their own. Because that's what Ripple is popular for doing, working with banks and businesses to be able to do cross-border payments on business transactions. If that's the case, I need to load up a whole lot more on Ripple right now and expand consumer access to the financial system. Now, you said that with confidence, Lawi. Yes, Ripple and XRP. You're saying that with confidence, which means the Ripple is poised to win their case against the SEC. A CBDC could also pose certain risks and could raise a variety of important policy questions, including how it might affect financial sector market structures, the cost of availability of credit, the safety and stability of the financial system, and the efficacy of monetary policy. Interesting, Lawi. Have we communicated before? Your name seems familiar. I don't know if we've communicated before. All right. The introduction of a CBDC would represent a highly significant innovation in American money. Let me read that one more time. You guys understand this, because I always said before that whether you like it or not, blockchain technology is going to disrupt every industry, and every single person is going to be impacted, whether you like it or not. And the introduction of a CBDC would represent a highly significant innovation in American money. That's what I said. New definition of money. Accordingly, yes, you've been following me for a year? Fantastic. Accordingly, broad consultation with the general public and key stakeholders is essential. Lawi, are you in the inner circle? If not, you need to be. This paper is the first step in such a conversation. It describes the economic context for a CBDC key policy considerations, and the potential risks and benefits of a U.S. CBDC. It also solicits feedback from all interested parties. The Federal Reserve does not intend to proceed with issuance of a CBDC without clear support from the executive branch and from Congress, ideally in the form of a specific authorizing law. All right, I'm going to use as an example of what they're doing here. You know that old movie Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. So he had to build the baseball field first before his dad can come back and visit and play ball with him. The most popular topic in the land right now, and I'm going to walk on eggshells mentioning this, is the Supreme Court just overturned Roe v. Wade. 50-year standard gone overnight. But the states that have always been against abortion have put in place what they call trigger laws, so that as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, the laws go into effect. They didn't wait till after it was already put in place. This is what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. They're already going to have this in place. They've already done dry runs in practice. Are you aware of that? Let me ask you this question. How many of you understood what was going on during the pandemic and why the government sent out stimulus checks during the pandemic? How many of you heard of stimulus checks? Type me in the chat box. How many of you heard of that? This was the dry run. That era. You know that old saying, never let a good crisis go to waste, whether real or manufactured. That's all I'm going to say when concerning COVID. Whether real or manufactured. That was a unique opportunity to see how can the government be able to rapidly deploy funds directly into the hands of the citizens and create a database at the same time. So they have already have a system with the IRS and the IRS.gov and those that are unemployed. And you used to get unemployment checks. And then they moved to they gave you a version of a debit card, and then they can move the money straight onto that debit card. So you don't have to wait for the check in the mail or direct deposit into your own personal bank account. They're just crediting your card with money. So it's not your own bank debit card, it's the government's card. So then when they started to do the stimulus checks, they did it that way. But I think they gave people a choice. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you able to get checks or direct deposit into your bank account? Or if you already have like an unemployment card, they will put the money on that card for rapid deployment. That was all a trial run on how they can implement this. Okay. Yeah, some got checks. Yeah, some people had to get checks because they don't have a bank account. Then they take that check in the check cashing place, or they gave you the government debit card, so it didn't matter if you had a bank account or not. That card you could still use it at either ATMs or in the grocery store because it's credited. So that was all a practice run. Oh, I lost my place here. So let me see, where did I go? Not a commercial bank. CBDC could also pose certain risks, structure, and availability of credit. I'll just start from here. A CBDC could potentially offer a range of benefits. For example, it could provide households and businesses a convenient electronic form of a central bank money with the safety and liquidity that would entail. give entrepreneurs a platform on which to create new financial products and services, support faster and cheaper payments, cross-border payments, and expand consumer access to the financial system. There, that right there, expand consumer access. So even if you don't have a bank account, you can create an account with the Federal Reserve. Interesting. A CBDC could also pose certain risks and would raise a variety of important policy questions, including how it might affect the financial sector market structure, the cost and availability of credit, the safety and stability of the financial system, and the efficacy of monetary policy. The introduction of a CBDC would represent a highly significant innovation in American money. Accordingly, broad consultation with the general public. Oh yeah, I really remember reading this. That I want to be a part of that. I want to get feedback. The Federal Reserve does not intend to proceed. Yes, they will. Oh yeah, that's the point I was making. Yeah, they are already creating it, and then they're going to wait for the government to make the law. See, Biden already signed an executive order, and that order only stated that all the three-letter agencies better start working together to provide some form of regulation for the crypto space. So the Federal Reserve is waiting back in the wings. Well, what was that? Stand by, stand back, and stand by. That's what the Federal Reserve is doing right now. So the moment that law goes in, boom, everything gets triggered. The existing forms of money. Whoa, hold up. What do you mean the existing forms of money? Forms is plural. Why not just say the existing money? This is why I'm doing tonight the river of money. People don't even know what freaking money is. This is all they know. Cash. That's all they know. So this got my attention here. Money serves as a means of payment, a store of value, and a unit of account. So that's what it serves. In the United States, money takes multiple forms. Central bank money is a liability of the central bank. The United States central bank money comes in the form of physical currency issued by the Federal Reserve and digital balances held by commercial banks at the Federal Reserve. That's this. Central bank money. Commercial bank money. Is the digital form of money that is most commonly used by the public. Wait. Hold up. Let me go back then. So central bank money comes in the form of physical currency issued by the Federal Reserve and digital balances held by commercial banks at the Federal Reserve. Oh, that is not what the average public has access to. That's between like banks, sometimes big businesses, and the government. Commercial bank money is a digital form of money that is most commonly used by the public. That's this. Central bank money is held in accounts at commercial banks. Non-bank money. Don't worry, I got the Shopify link, Marnita. So y'all good with that one. Yeah, everybody's hitting me up while I'm doing the crypto talk. Non-bank money is digital money held as balances at non-bank financial service providers. These firms typically conduct balance transfers on their own books using a range of technologies, including mobile apps. Let me read that one more time. Non-bank money. Digital money held as balances at non-bank financial service providers. Are they talking about crypto? These firms typically conduct balance transfers on their own books using a range of technologies, including mobile apps. The different types of money can carry different amounts of credit and liquidity risk. Commercial bank money has very little credit or liquidity risk due to federal deposit insurance. The supervision and regulation of commercial banks and commercial banks access to central bank liquidity, non-bank money lacks the full range of protections of commercial bank money and therefore generally carries more credit and liquidity risk. Central bank money carries neither credit nor liquidity risk and is therefore considered the safest form of money. Central bank money, which most people don't have access to. Central bank money serves as the foundation of the financial system and the overall economy. Commercial bank money and non-bank money are denominated in the same units as central bank money, i.e. US dollars, and are intended to be convertible into central bank money. Has anybody learned any of this in school? We're only taught about commercial bank money. But do you realize, do you see what this said here? Commercial bank money is denominated in the same units as central bank money. Two complete different systems. It's like USDT and USDC, Tether and the USDC stablecoin, or the BNB stablecoin, using the same unit of measurement, 1-to-1 to the dollar, but they're not the same. What do you think the real money is? The payment system. The U.S. payment system connects a broad range of financial institutions, households, and businesses. Most payments in the United States rely on interbank payment services, such as the ACH network or wire transfer systems, to move money from a sender's account at one bank to a recipient's account at another bank. Accordingly, interbank payment services are critical to the functioning and stability of the financial system and the economy more broadly. The firms that operate interbank payment services are subject to federal supervision, and systemically important payment firms are subject to heightened supervision and regulation. Interbank payment systems may initially settle in commercial bank money or in central bank money, depending on their design. However, because central bank money has no credit or liquidity risk, what? Look at that. Central bank money that y'all don't have access to has no credit or liquidity risk. Central bank payment systems tend to underpin interbank payments and serve as the backbone of the broader payment system. The use of central bank money to settle interbank payments promotes financial stability because it eliminates credit and liquidity risk in systemically important payment systems. I'm thinking that their version of the digital dollar is not going to be on the commercial side. I'm thinking they're going to do this on the central bank side, but give everybody access to it. Oh, that's even worse. I've got to see how this plays out, because then we're really part of the system. That's even worse. Recent improvements to the payment system. Recent improvements, okay? The recent improvements to the U.S. payment system have focused on making payments faster, cheaper, more convenient, and more accessible. Instant payments have been a particularly active field of private and public sector innovation. Yeah, but the reason why it's not faster right now is because we got the third-party system in place. And the third-party system charges fees. Like if you're going to move $2 billion from one country, one bank, to another country in their bank, that doesn't happen instantly. It may take 3 to 5 days, maybe 7 days on the very first transaction, and you got to fill out all this paperwork, and you got to pay a hefty fee. What, 1%, 2%, or 3% on that transaction? And that's why the entire system we have today is where it is. The third party system. The middlemen. So what you're saying here is you want to eliminate the middleman so that there can be instant payments, which means you are not using the commercial banks. You're doing this all internally with the central Federal Reserve. How's the other banks going to take that? They're not going to like that. Instant payments have been a particularly active field of private and public sector innovation. For example, the Clearinghouse has developed the RTP network, which is a real-time interbank payment system for lower value payments. The Federal Reserve is also building a new, look at it, not Bank of America, not JP Morgan, not Chase. The Federal Reserve is building a new interbank settlement service for instant payments. This is the FedNow service, scheduled to debut in 2023. So it hasn't happened yet. We are still at the beginning. This is why education is so important, so that you can be made aware of what's going on. How many people out there do you think is going to read this white paper right now? How many people out there do you think even knows that there's a white paper on the digital money that's going to fundamentally change how money is being used in the United States, that will affect every single man, woman, and child? Something as important as that, most people are still walking around like they're stuck in the matrix with the blue pill. They don't even know that there's a red pill available. You guys give yourselves a pat on the back, not only for being engaged, but actually listening to me right now. Most will not. And it's the ones with the biggest mouths out there that are the most uneducated and ignorant people. So recent improvements to the U.S. payment system have focused on making payments faster, cheaper. See, that's the word, cheaper. How do you make something cheaper? You got to cut out somebody. Somebody's going to be out of a job. More convenient and more accessible. Instant payments have been a particularly active field of private and public sector innovation. For example, the Clearinghouse has developed an RTP network, which is a real-time interbank settlement service for instant payments. The FedNow service, scheduled to debut in 2023, these instant payment services will enable commercial banks to provide payment services to households, businesses around the clock every day of the year, with recipients gaining immediate access to transferred funds. So what happens with banks right now, if you get paid on Friday, it takes 2 business days or whatever for that to hit your account. So you don't have access on Saturday and Sunday. It shows up as pending. And then even on Monday, it doesn't show up until active until maybe end of business day on Monday. So next you got to wait till Tuesday. What happens if you have access to that instantly 24/7 around the clock? That is a huge difference. The growth of these instant payment services also could reduce the costs and fees associated with certain types of payments. Again, the Federal Reserve is making a gangster move right here. They're saying, forget you banks, we're going to be the ones. We're coming direct. In addition, a host of consumer-focused services that are accessible through mobile devices have made digital payments faster and more convenient. Some of these new payment services, however, could pose financial stability, payment system integrity, and other risks. For example, if the growth of non-bank payment services were to cause a large-scale shift of money from commercial banks to non-banks, the resulting lack of equivalent protections that come with commercial bank money could run risk or other instabilities to the financial system. Remaining challenges for the payment system. While the existing U.S. payment system is generally effective and efficient, certain challenges remain. In particular, a significant number of Americans currently lack access to digital banking and payment services. Additionally, some payments, especially cross-border payments, remain slow and costly. Digital financial services and commercial bank money have become more accessible over time, and increasing numbers of Americans have opened and maintained bank accounts. Nonetheless, more than 7 million or 5% of US households remain unbanked. Oh, really? So the Federal Reserve wants to come and help bank the unbanked? Nearly 20% or more have bank accounts, but yet still rely on more costly financial services such as money orders, check cashing services, and payday loans. And in what communities do you see most of those in? I mean, if I go driving down Rodeo Drive, I'm not going to see a check cashing place, a money order place, or payday loans. Usually, wherever you find the liquor stores, you're going to find these services. A variety of public and private sector efforts are underway to support financial inclusion. For example, the private sector bank on initiative promotes low cost, low risk consumer checking accounts. The Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta has also formed a special committee on payments inclusion, a public private sector collaboration that is working to promote access to digital payments for vulnerable populations. Cross border payments currently face a number of challenges, including slow settlements, high fees, and limited accessibility. And it's not just African American communities. I wouldn't even look at it as far, I would look at it as more of a class base, the poor neighborhoods, because there's poor neighborhoods from blacks, Asians, whites, all across the sector. They all got it. It's just the media and the news likes to focus on, one segment of the population when it's really more prevalent in others. We just don't see it. Cross-border payments currently face a number of challenges, including slow settlement, high fees, and limited accessibility. So I could see how this might be seen good in some communities. Yeah, we never had access to a bank account. The Federal Reserve is coming in to save us, bring down our costs. But at what expense? Cross-border payments currently face a number of challenges, including slow settlement, high fees, and limited accessibility. Oh no, you're not corrected, Wilmina. You're correct. I'm saying it's not the only one. You're absolutely right. I don't want the impression of people thinking that's the only community. Oh no. It's even more. If you just look at population by size, when you look at which population has the most people on welfare, most people, not by percentage, but people, it's not African Americans. Like I said, the media just doesn't cover that. Cross-border payments currently face a number of challenges, including slow settlements, high fees, and limited accessibility. Limited accessibility. The sources of these frictions include the mechanics of currency exchange, variations in different countries, legal regimes and technological infrastructure, time zone complications, and coordination problems among intermediaries, including correspondent banks and non-bank financial service providers, regulatory requirements related to money laundering and other illicit activities introduce further complications. Finally, certain destination countries for cross-border payments have limited competition, allowing existing providers to charge high fees. Are they going to war with the banking industry? If I am Jamie Dimon, I'm not liking this. Allowing existing providers to charge high fees. You're trying to cut that? That's where we make our money. As the second quarter of 2021, the average cost of sending a remittance from the United States to other countries was 5.41% of the really? Dang, it cost 5%? Okay. If you got to send $50 billion from one country to another, they're charging you 5%. Do you know how much it will cost if you did it through Bitcoin? I already know because we covered that. One dude did what was it, 20, not 20 billion. It was a 200 something $1 million transaction, and it only cost him $3. The transaction fee was $3. Instead, he would have had to pay 5% using that through crypto. What's 5% of 200 something $1 million? High cost for cross-border payments also affect smaller businesses that make infrequent global payments to suppliers. Reducing these costs could benefit economic growth, enhance global commerce, improve international remittances, and reduce inequality. That's right, it's classism. The greatest way to maintain power is to make the poor believe that they're the enemies of each other. That's all I'm going to say on that part. Digital assets. Technological innovation has recently ushered in a wave of digital assets with money-like characteristics. These cryptocurrencies arose from a combination of cryptographic and distributed ledger technologies, which together provide a foundation for decentralized peer-to-peer payments. Cryptocurrencies. All right, so we are 15 pages in, and this is the first time we see the word cryptocurrencies. I'm not going to finish this in time, so I'm going to have to make this a 2 or 3 parter. Cryptocurrencies have not been widely adopted as a means of payment in the United States. They remain subject to extreme price volatility, are difficult to use without service providers, and have severe limitations on transaction throughput. Many cryptocurrencies also come with a significant energy footprint and make consumers vulnerable to loss, theft, and fraud. Okay, so they're making the case why theirs is better than crypto. Let me read the stablecoin part again. Oh, wait. No, I'm not there yet. This part again. They remain extremely volatile. So here's their pitch on why we don't want to use cryptocurrency. Here's their pitch. They remain subject to extreme price volatility. They are difficult to use without service providers. They have severe limitations on transactions. Many cryptos come with significant energy footprint. And they make consumers vulnerable to loss, theft, and fraud. So those are the 5 key things. You might want to put that to memory, because when people that are talking against crypto and saying that cash is king, those are typically the 5 things that will be pulled up. On another day, I have an answer for all 5. I have not an answer, but a rebuke or a dissent of those cases. Stable coins are a more recent incarnation of cryptocurrency that peg their value to one or more assets. No. Okay, first of all, I'm challenging. It is not a more recent incarnation. Stable coins have been here for a long time. But anyways, they say stable coins are a more recent incarnation of cryptocurrency that peg their value to one or more assets, such as a sovereign currency or commodity. I like that, Marianne, what you said. This is just a huge commercial for those that are uneducated in digital and cryptocurrency. You're right. People that read this that don't understand crypto, they're going to love this. They're going to think, yay, finally, I don't have to get that stupid crypto that I don't understand. The federal government's going to take care of me. I trust the government. Stablecoins pegged to the US dollar are predominantly used today to facilitate trading of other digital assets. But many firms are exploring ways to promote stablecoins as a widespread means of payment. A full discussion of statements is outside the scope of this paper. However, the president's, you want me to research the nominee white paper? Well, you guys got to be in the inner circle. We've been doing white papers last week. So yeah, I could look at that white paper, but I do that in the inner circle. So a full discussion of stablecoin arrangements is outside the scope of this paper. However, the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, along with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC, recently published a report on payment stablecoins. The PWG report notes that well-designed and appropriately regulated stablecoins could potentially support faster, more efficient, and more inclusive options. It's true. If it wasn't, Brandon would be like, yep. Inner Circle has been one of my top 3 best investments that I made. That is right. And Marnita, do me a favor and put up that Inner Circle link there. If you're not in the Inner Circle, you got to be in the Inner Circle. To reduce the risks of payment stablecoins. Oh, no. The PWG report also notes, however, that the potential for the increased use of stablecoins as a means of payment raises a range of concerns related to the potential for destabilizing runs, disruptions in the payment system, and concentration of economic power. The PWG report highlights gaps in the authority of regulators to reduce these risks. To address the risk of payment stablecoins, the PWG report recommends that Congress act promptly. Thank you, Marnita. Congress act promptly to enact legislation that would ensure payment stablecoins and payment stablecoin arrangements are subject to a consistent and comprehensive federal regulatory framework. Such legislation would complement existing authorities regarding market integrity, investor protection, and illicit finance. Okay. CBDC, the Federal Reserve is considering how a CBDC might fit into the U.S. money and payments landscape. A crucial test for a potential CBDC is whether it would prove superior to other methods that might address issues of concern outlined in this paper. So I'm starting to get a clearer picture here. They're thinking about having this become more like a stable coin to the dollar, but it is backed by the Federal Reserve. That's what it looks like they're leading towards. We'll see. As noted above, for the purpose of this discussion paper, CBDC is defined as a digital liability of the Federal Reserve that is widely available to the general public. You guys might want to write that down. That is their definition of it, of a CBDC. Today, Federal Reserve notes, i.e., physical currency, are the only type of central bank money available to the general public. Federal Reserve notes. Note that they didn't say Federal Reserve money. They called it Federal Reserve notes. And then they want to get more specific, meaning physical currency. I find that interesting that they did that. Are the only type, because again, people don't know, they think this is the only version of money. If this was the only version of money, why would they need to highlight this? The only type of central bank money available, but they have other forms of money. Like existing forms of commercial bank money and non-bank money, a CBDC would enable the general public to make digital payments. As a liability of the Federal Reserve, however, a CBDC would require mechanisms like deposit insurance and maintain public confidence. Nor would a CBDC depend on backing by an underlying asset pool to maintain its value. Are you kidding me? What? I would have had respect if they said, yeah, our CBDC is going to be backed by the gold in the reserves. No, they said, nor. Well, okay, let me read the sentence again. As a liability of the Federal Reserve, however, this is what they consider a liability. A CBDC would not require mechanisms like deposit insurance to maintain public confidence. So, like when you put your money in the bank, it's insured. So, if somebody robs the bank, you still got your money. Okay? Your money's secured. However, with the Federal Reserve, they consider this as a liability. It is not backed, it is not insured to maintain public confidence, nor would a CBDC depend on backing by an underlying asset pool to maintain its value. In other words, what is backing the CBDC? Trust. See, that's what's backing the dollar. What's backing Bitcoin? Math and proof of work, not trust. Interesting. And then it says a CBDC would be the safest digital asset available to the general public with no associated credit or liquidity risk. This is a sentence that the public is only going to pay attention to. They're going to think it's safe. And then since the public is not educated, they're going to think it's the safest form of crypto. It is not a crypto. It's digital. But that's a direct attack because the banks are going to come up with their own CBDCs. I want to see how the banks are going to react to this. I want to see what is their response. The Federal Reserve will continue to explore a wide range of design options for a CBDC. While no decisions have been made on whether to pursue a CBDC, that's a lie. Analysis to date suggests that a potential US CBDC, if one were created, would best serve the needs of the United States by being privacy protected, intermediated, widely transferable, and identity verified. Privacy protected. Protecting consumer privacy is critical. Any CBDC would need to strike an appropriate balance. However, between safeguarding the privacy rights of consumers and affording the transparency necessary to deter criminal activity, protecting consumer privacy is critical. Any CBDC would need to strike an appropriate, intermediated. The Federal Reserve Act does not authorize the Federal Reserve accounts for individuals, and such accounts would represent a significant expansion. Does not authorize direct Federal Reserve accounts. So what is it doing then? The Federal Reserve Act, they're saying that right now. The current Federal Reserve Act does not authorize direct Federal Reserve accounts. Well, so me and you, we cannot open up an account with the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve deals with all the banks and businesses and stuff. But we don't. We have accounts with the banks. That's why they call it commercial. And such accounts would represent a significant expansion of the Federal Reserve's role in the financial system and the economy. So in other words, they're now saying for the first time ever, we are now allowing people to have an account with the Federal Reserve. I'm getting 1971 vibes on this. When they moved gold from the dollar, from the notes. Now they want you to have an account directly with them. That seems to me another way they're going to be able to highway robbery, stealing money. Under an intermediated model, the private sector would offer accounts or digital wallets to facilitate the management of CBDC holdings and payments. Under an intermediated model, the private sector would offer accounts and payments. Potential intermediaries could include. So what they're saying is they are going to work with the commercial banks. And say now the commercial banks have access So you can have your account on the commercial bank that has access to the Federal Reserve. That's interesting. So they're not going to go to war with the banks. So potential, but it's potential. Intermediaries could include commercial banks and regulated though, that's the key word there, non-bank financial service providers. Coinbase is a non-bank financial service provider. Binance.us, FTX, Crypto.com, and would operate in an open market for CBDC services. Although commercial banks and non-bank, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction. I predict Coinbase, even though they're servicing the whole crypto sector, I predict Coinbase is going to also be involved with this. CBDCs one way or another. Mark my words on that. If you ever hear it, like, I remember Brandon said that. Although commercial banks and non-banks would offer services to individuals to manage their CBDC holdings and payments, the CBDC itself would be a liability of the Federal Reserve. An intermediated model would facilitate the use of the private sector's existing privacy and identity management frameworks, leverage the private sector's ability to innovate, and reduce the prospects for destabilizing disruptions to the well-functioning U.S. financial system. So in other words, they're saying we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to open our doors, but we're not going to cut out the banks. We're going to include them. It's an interesting thing for now. For now. No problem, Pat. I'm going to go for... You know what? I'm going to keep going here. Because I got a hard stop in 20 minutes for my clients. But I'm going to keep going here because my brain is wrapped in this. Okay. Identity, you guys, those of you that hop off for the marketing training, 30 days, you can watch the recording of this. Transferable. For a CBDC to serve as a widely accessible means of payment, it would need to be readily transferable between customers of different intermediaries. The ability to transfer value seamlessly between different intermediaries makes the payment system more efficient by allowing money to move freely throughout the economy. So what they're saying is, even if you've got an account with the bank, because your account is also tied with the Federal Reserve, and the other bank is also tied to the Federal Reserve, then these intermediary transfers can be seamless. Like, I've got an account with Chase and I have an account with Bank of America, yet Zelle, you can only have one account with Zelle, not multiple, unless you're using a different email address or telephone number. In this instance, it would be seamless. That would knock out Western Union, though. There would be no need for Western Union. Identity verified. Financial institutions in the United States are subject to robust rules that are designed to combat money laundering and the financing of terrorism. A CBDC would need to be designed to comply with these rules. And Marnita, if you go ahead and hop off, you got to do the 30-day. I got the links that I'm going to show off in a second. In practice, this would mean that a CBDC intermediary would need to verify the identity of a person accessing CBDC, just as banks and other financial institutions currently verify the identities of their customers. So that system's still going to be in place. Uses and functions of a CBDC. CBDC transactions would need to be final and completed in real time, allowing users to make payments to one another using a risk-free asset. Individuals, businesses, and governments could potentially use a CBDC to make basic purchases of goods and services or pay bills, and governments could use a CBDC to collect taxes or make benefit payments directly to citizens. Additionally, a CBDC could potentially be programmed to. Did you see that word there? Programmed. It's a smart contract controlled by the government. Only it will be an open-ended one, meaning that they can reprogram it. They can change the programming. But programmed to, for example, deliver payments at certain times. I wonder what the IMF is going to do with this. I wonder if the IMF is going to either create their own version of a CBDC or follow in the US footsteps. If the United States is creating it, then all the other countries around the world might follow suit on this and use the United States CBDC. What are the potential benefits of a CBDC? Well, a CBDC could potentially serve as a new foundation for the payment system and a bridge between different payment services, both legacy and new. It could also maintain the centrality of safe and trusted central bank money in a rapidly digitizing economy. Safely meet future needs and demands for payment services. A US CBDC would offer the general public broad access to digital money that is free from credit risk and liquidity risk. As such, it could provide a safe foundation for private sector innovations to meet current and future needs and demands for payment services. All options for private digital money include stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies. You're right about yeah, the potential benefits of a CBDC is two sentences. All options for private digital money, including stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies, require mechanisms to reduce liquidity risk, and credit risk. But all these mechanisms are imperfect. In our rapidly digitizing economy, the proliferation of private digital money could present risks to both individual users and the financial system as a whole. A US CBDC could mitigate some of these risks while supporting private sector innovation. A CBDC, well, maybe I think, no. This is all part of the benefits, not just, this is just the intro. So one is safely meet future needs and demands for payment services. Then improvements to cross-border payments. Says a CBDC might help to level the playing field in payment innovation for private sector firms of all sizes. For some smaller firms, the cost and risk of issuing a safe and robust form of private money may be prohibitive. A CBDC could overcome this barrier and allow private sector innovators to focus on new access services, distribution methods, and related service offerings. Finally, a CBDC might generate new capabilities to meet the evolving speed and efficiency requirements of the digital economy. As noted above, for example, a CBDC could potentially be programmed to deliver payments at certain times. Additionally, a CBDC could potentially be used to carry out micropayments, financial transactions that usually occur online and involve very small sums of money, which traditional payment systems are not necessarily designed to facilitate. That's a good one also. Judy says that it can also be programmed for tax day. What if they program that they take your taxes out immediately? Again, that goes to the control factor there. Improvements to cross-border payments. A CBDC has the potential to streamline cross-border payments by using new technologies. That's the key there. New technologies. Again, will they use Ripple or will they create their own? Introducing simplified distribution channels and creating additional opportunities for cross-jurisdictional collaboration and interoperability. Realizing these potential improvements will require significant international coordination. There's the key. That's why I brought up the IMF. significant international coordination to address issues such as common standards and infrastructure. The types of intermediaries that would be able to access any new infrastructure, legal frameworks, preventing illicit transactions, and the cost and timing of implementation. Support the dollars. Oh, okay. Pay attention to this. Support the dollar's international role. Another potential benefit. I'm surprised I didn't have this as number one. Another potential benefit of a U.S. issued CBDC could be to preserve the dominant international role of the U.S. dollar. This is the main thing, okay? Out of everything you read on this, this is the main thing. And as an American, if we're looking out for our best interest, this is what we need to do, because the international community is growing up. World War II is way behind in the distance. These other countries don't need us anymore. And if we want to maintain our status, we have to innovate. We have to evolve from this to digital to keep and maintain the status quo. That is not a statement of whether it is right or wrong, okay? That is a statement of fact if the United States wants to remain like this says. Don't take my word for it. The Federal Reserve is saying this, and they're being coy with it too. Another potential benefit. This is the main point of a U.S. issued CBDC. They're trying to go up against China. China already has their CBDC. Could be to preserve the dominant international role of the US dollar. The dollar is the world's most widely used currency for payments and investments. It also serves as the world's reserve currency. The dollar's international role benefits the United States by, among other things, lowering transaction and borrowing costs for the US, households, businesses, and government. The dollar's international role also allows the United States to influence standards for the global monetary system. In other words, control. As long as the world is using our dollar, we control shit. We control stuff. Excuse my language. Today, the dollar is widely used across the globe because of the depth of liquidity of U.S. financial markets, the size and openness of the U.S. economy, and international trust in U.S. institutions and rule of law. Do you guys get that? The dollar is widely used across the globe because of the depth and liquidity of U.S. financial markets, the size and openness of the U.S. economy, and international, there's that word again, trust in U.S. institutions and rule of law. It is important. Why do you think? Look at this. I'm going back to this. There's more than 524 exchanges around the world, and less than 10 of them are in the United States. Why? Because of the regulations in the United States. If you can do business and be regulated in the U.S., you can do business anywhere around the world. It is important, however, to consider the implications of a potential future state in which many foreign countries and currency unions may have introduced CBDCs, so they're directly attacking Russia and China on this. Some have suggested that if these new CBDCs were more attractive than existing forms of the US dollar, global use of the dollar could decrease. Ding, ding, ding. This is the entire point of this entire deal is because of this section right here. Make no mistake about it. And a US CBDC might help preserve the international role of the dollar. So if you're able to read between the lines, I am telling you, I haven't even read the next 20 pages yet. But this, and they buried this in the middle of it. They could have come out and put this at the very top. But they buried this in the middle of this white paper. This is the entire point right here. So if you read the white paper, get your hands on it, you might want to highlight this section. This is why this is going on. Financial inclusion. Everything else is secondary. Promoting financial inclusion, particularly for economically vulnerable households and communities, is a high priority for the Federal Reserve. Private sector electronic transactions accounts facilitate success or access to digital payments, enable rapid and cost-effective payment of taxes, enable rapid and cost-effective delivery of wages, tax refunds, and other federal payments, provided a secure way for people to save and promote access to credit. Some have suggested that a CBDC could reduce common barriers to financial inclusion and could lower transaction costs, which could be particularly helpful for lower income households. Further study would be helpful to assess the potential for CBDC to expand financial inclusion, including cases targeted to underserved and lower income households. Extend public access to safe central bank money. They keep using that word, safe central bank money. What is the banks not safe? Whenever an art or an official document like this is written, words are put in there that are used to set a precedence. It's like if you join a network marketing company and you don't read the terms and conditions, you got to read the terms and conditions and the policies and procedures, because certain words is put there that you may not think it's big right now, but it will be big later, and they're going to point back to this. The reason why I stopped and this caught my attention is because I believe one way for the U.S. government to enact massive adoption of a CBDC is based on a crisis, whether real or manufactured to happen, where there's going to be a run on the banks. Everybody's going to try to pull their money out at the same time, and there's not enough physical cash to go around. They're going to close the bank doors. ATM machines are going to run empty. We're going to see the bank run off with all of our money. It's not safe to have our money in the bank. And then swoop on in the Federal Reserve to say, it's okay, guys. It's okay. Your money's safe with us. We're the government. And we're all digital. So you don't have to worry about pulling out cash. You got the FedCoin debit card. Your money's safe with us. You guys see where I'm going with this? That's why this caught my attention. Cash is currently the only central bank money that is available to the general public, and it remains an important popular means of payment. Let me say this one more time. Cash is currently, see that word? Currently, the only central bank money that is available to the general public, and it remains an important and popular means of payment. But cash is not the only form of money that the central bank has access to. I hope you guys are picking this up, because this is going to lead into what I'm talking about tonight. According to a 2020 survey, U.S. consumers use cash for 19% of total transactions, 6% by value. The Federal Reserve is committed to ensuring the continued safety and availability of cash, and is considering a CBDC as a means to expand safe payment options, not to reduce or replace them. In some jurisdictions, however, digital payments have rapidly supplanted cash. While cash use in the United States fell from 40% of transactions in 2012, 12% by value, to 19% in 2020. So look at that. In 8 years, people went from 40% of transactions using cash to only 19%. Other countries have seen more rapid declines. In Sweden, for example, the proportion of cash payments fell from 33% to less than 10% in the same time period. In China, 50% of point of sale payments are made with a mobile wallet or app, while cash accounts for just 13% of point of sale payments. If these trends were to emerge in the United States, consumers might want the option of digitized central bank money that, like cash, would have no credit or liquidity risk attached to it. All right. Going on page 21, I'm going to pause right here because we're going to have to do part 2. I just don't know when. I've got a busy day today. Maybe tomorrow after, but people go to church in the morning. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, but I can't promise that. So we're going to stop here. I'm going to announce when we're going to do part 2 in the next 48 hours. And then I'm going to come back and finish this up, the next 20 pages. So this was part 1. Next will be part 2, but I do want to show off something. ILCA is getting ready for July. In July, we're going to be doing Bitcoin 101. Anybody, I don't care if you think you're seasoned, I guarantee you're going to learn something new in Bitcoin 101. And Bitcoin 101 costs. You don't have to buy all of my courses to get access to it. You don't have to buy all of my courses. Let me save this link here for you guys. I want to create banner. Scroll across the ticker. No, I'll just leave it up there right now. Add as a banner. Okay, so here we go. Okay, that's it right there. ILCA Bitcoin101.com. Discover the secrets of trading crypto from a real crypto millionaire. Even if you are an absolute beginner, get all the information you need to make money with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the hottest new cryptocurrencies. So not only are you getting access to the courses, and for those of you who say, Brandon, I had your Bitcoin 101. It's not the same. I changed it. It is version 2.0. So if you think you've gone through my courses before, you're a prior student, this is brand new. So learning about and investing in crypto doesn't have to be hard anymore. Also, Bitcoin 101. And not only can you get these courses, but twice a week, I'm going to be doing live training on these courses. So if you do Q&A, it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday night starting on July 7th. So what is the cost of all of this? All these modules, 15 modules from an introduction to Bitcoin and crypto. What is blockchain? The birth of Bitcoin. How do cryptocurrencies work? Where to buy it? Coinbase tutorial, types of wallet, protecting your investments and security. Altcoins overview, become acquainted with Bitcoin and crypto lingo. Myths about Bitcoin, investing and holding. Coins versus tokens. How to use Exodus. We're missing one. We're missing one on this page. All right, I'll get them added. We got one more. Are you ready to learn about crypto to get started today? You have two options. You can buy the course by yourself for $300, or you get the course plus my live sessions where you can ask questions for $350. Join Bitcoin 101 today. Click here to get immediate access. And if you're undecided, hey, you can listen to what others are saying about it. We've got testimonials from Christine Shield. She's on, and Sasha. So you can listen to what others have said about Bitcoin 101. So get this, because we're starting July. $350. And we now have it goes live on Monday. Goes live on Monday. My apparel store, meaning gear, swag. Now, you can't buy anything yet. You can take a look at it, ilcaapparel.com, but you can't buy anything just yet. This is, look at some of the clothing here. Collections. We even have an entire women's collection. Talk about your brand. Oh, this is still loading up. Come on, load up for me. I know I got a whole lot going on. We don't make plans, we make it happen. Like that. Watch this next one. Future billionaires loading. Ladies, are you a future billionaires? Creating a better future with digital technology. What about the next one here? Welcome to the future of blockchain. Keep calm and connect to the metaverse. Welcome to the future. I am not bossy. I am the boss. And do you know who came up with these sayings? My executive assistant, Marnie DeCasa. You click on Shop the Collection. Although, again, you're not going to be able to. Boss Diva. You want shirts? And we're not just going to be doing shirts. We're going to be doing everything. Everything. Look at these collections here. I just say no to inflation. I am in control. DLT, Distributed Ledger Technology. I am proof of work. So we've got men and we've got ladies tees. Form-fitting tees for you women. All right, you want to show off your curves. Don't mind me, I am just a blockchain master. So this goes live on Monday, so you can purchase your swag, crypto swag, and promote. All right, I've got to run. I got a hard stop. I will be doing a live tonight, but it will not be public like this. You don't have to pay for it, but you do have to be a member of our community. So if you have not done so, you want to register at ilcachallenge.com. See it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. ilcachallenge.com. Again, ilcachallenge.com. 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about the river of money. You just learned directly from the Federal Reserve what they think money is. I'm going to take it to another level. I hope you learned something new. As always, that's the point. I will let you know when I do part 2 of this later on tonight, or in the next couple of days. So with that, Bitcoin Brandon out. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.